Kevin, welcome back.
It's good to have a bit of a change of location.
Bit of a change of scenery. You folks won't see this, but moments before we moved everything, the lovely Mother Nature kicked in and literally just blew all the equipment over, and I've got a cracked phone, I've got all sorts going on.
Right when you said cut.
Right when I said cut. So timing was good, but the experience was still not beautiful. We're back. We've changed a little bit. We're still up top here as Catalyst in Midland, but we are moved over under the shade, and hopefully less wind. So touch wood, we don't have the same thing happen again. So we spoke earlier about everything that we're doing from the real aspect of your previous experience. Going forward, and I think one of the things we look at here is, and this is for all Mira candidates, not just you, Kevin. What makes you suitable to Mira? And from a re-election aspect, what do you think it takes to be Mayor, and where are you going to go next with this?
It's a good question. I wouldn't be sitting here today as a mayoral candidate, but if I didn't believe that over such a period of time, I've built a passion for the city of Swan and where it wants to go. But I've also been able to build those relationships that need to get you there. So, like a lot of people, I enjoy relationships at a business level, community level, and certainly within politics. And those relationships can be built on for the betterment of what we've got. Working with my colleagues and a lot of them as and future colleagues can always be a challenge. It's a lot easier to work with a group of people that have similar vision and similar outcomes. Working with other colleagues that have a different vision and a different view, or dare I say it, no vision at all, but you can leave that in or out. And to be fair, I don't see a lot of that in the paraphernalia that's happening at the moment. I don't see a lot of vision, and that really upsets me the most. And I'll get a free plug in. Is when I see people want to lead a city, become involved in leadership here, but don't portray a vision. And I've always been able to take people, and if not all of them, certainly people on a journey. And we mentioned that phrase, lead me, follow me, or stand aside and get out of the way. And I think that's a pretty good message to anyone that wants to get in that space. If you're not prepared to lead, and lead me, for example, then you shouldn't be here. And if you're not prepared to follow, you shouldn't be here, because you've got to follow somebody. The potential we have in Swan excites me, and to relay that passion and take everybody on that journey in the city of Swan is a skill set. And to be able to get out there and portray, and you've seen in the last hour or so, that enthusiasm can be infectious. But you've got to transfer that, and the mayor has a key role in it, in transferring that to people who look in and say, well, why would I come to Swan and build? Why would I invest my hard in Swan? And they want to sit down in front of someone who's enthusiastic, fired up, and convince them of that. And I've stood in front of large gatherings at industry functions and done the big sell for Swan, and then sat down at the table, and then you get why would I come to Swan to deal with your local government politics? You know, we can go to your competitors and they say, well, what do you want? How can we help you? And that frustrates me particularly. So I don't have that attitude. Mate, you come and talk to me, we'll get it done. Talk to my colleagues, we'll get it done. This is the greatest place to be, etc., etc., etc. So I've always been able to get that. You know, even as a councillor, throughout my 16 years on council, always been able to find a way to achieve that, working with, if it's not council members and politicians, certainly within local community members. And I've always had a great relationship with my local community groups and ratepayers association, wherever I've represented. And there's a number of those results you see up in Bullsbrook and the likes of the Ethel Warren Community Centre, which is way before its time. That was purely and simply working with local people to get a result. I think having that respect of a broad spectrum of community, and you're never going to please everybody. We know that. You can win some of the people some of the time, but you can't win them all. But having that respect and earning that respect of such a broad section of people will certainly take me on that journey with a whole lot of people to where Swan needs to be. So I can talk to, can't use my phone to say, but I can talk to somebody off a piece of road, pretty much. And build that relationship to bring those outcomes. And look, I know I don't think there's ever a day where we're all going to agree, but be able to get the bigger picture and keep that moving and take the community with us is something that not everybody's got. And I'm very pleased that I can do that.
Is that your advice to other candidates who are here at the moment, right? It's a case of you have to be prepared to have those hard conversations and get that compromise with your people and actually be able to move things forward, not just what I usually call is the song and dance around a circle. You can't keep going in circles, you've actually got to move stuff forward.
Exactly. And look, you can argue and fight over something forever, but, there's a bad habit in politics, and I think local government is really bad for it, is tell people what they want to hear, not what they need to hear. And good or bad or otherwise, I've always lived like that. Well, if you need to be told something, I will tell you. I won't sugarcoat it. I won't tell you stuff you want to hear because that's not good advice. It's served me well over 16 years, just to be brutally honest. And open them and just tell people the way it is. People respect that, I think. Whereas if you sugarcoat it and try and hide behind stuff, it's never going to work. And eventually, people will come on side. But like I said, like we keep saying, you're never going to please everyone. And you've got to be prepared for that. And being the mayor, you can be in the hot seat for some pretty brutal treatment at time. If you're in any way emotional about stuff, you need to be going somewhere else. And you just got to keep your eye on the prize and just deal with issues as they come and be brutally honest with people.
Did you say the mayor needs the thick skin?
Yeah, you can't be a little shrinking violet being the mayor's seat, that's for sure. And it's a big responsibility. It's a lot more than meets the eye, because normally most people see the mayor at a civil function and they see the council member. There's a lot more goes on behind the back scenes that no one ever sees. And I would say that it's a bigger job than anyone could possibly envisage. And while there are certainly one other candidate's had mayoral experience, and he would definitely understand that. I think some of the others would be in for a big culture shock, if they get in a big chair, because there's stuff waiting behind that door that you're not expecting. That's for sure.
Very good, very good. All right, let's have a chat about. What do you think the biggest challenges facing the Sydney's one community level at the moment, in sort of 12 months? I mean, we're seeing obviously interest rates. In talking personally, we were told by the government there weren't going to be interest rates until 24, and I think literally a month after that we went and bought an investment property in Elroy, and then not even 4 weeks later, boom,
up it goes.
And we went from having a positively geared property, only by a few bucks a week, to a very much negative geared property, even today, obviously. But it's also then we've seen the rising of effectively everything we touch, from food to services and whatnot. And we've had our rates recently. I'm probably a bit polarising in this aspect because I actually think the rate rise that we just had was fine. It was moderate. It wasn't harmful. I actually think they did quite well. There's a lot of people out there, and I actually get particularly pissed off, I will use the term, for these both councillors and otherwise who harp on about we will keep rates to zero rise. But how do you talk to that or answer that, like from a cost of living perspective and a challenge for the community at the moment, knowing full well that wages are now rising because of the stuff that we've been going through for the last 12 months, but balancing that out at that sort of community expectation?
It is. And local government, for being the third tier, are always open to the rates debate. No one likes getting them. But I would always question someone that says, like you said, I will keep rates to zero, but I'll provide you all this stuff. You would really have to question their ability to manage things on a financial level. I don't think there's anyone in this world that would doubt that zero rate increase is sustainable. And the City of Swan, and I did get challenged on the other day about how I voted for a rate rise, and I had to remind them that the last rate rise I was involved in was in 2019, and it was 1.3%. And I did bring with my rest of my councils the following year the COVID budget, which was a zero increase in revenue. Surprisingly, as a result of that, 63% of our ratepayers got a rate reduction. 2 zero rate increases after that would still be getting the benefit of that today. But when people look at CPI and cost of living, not many people know that your rates are included in your CPI, so they're part of CPI. But when you talk about the goods in a shopping trolley, you don't see too much asphalt in a shopping trolley.
No.
You don't see the cost of a mower in a shopping trolley. So in a large growth council like the City of Swan, finances are tricky, and we're tasked with providing huge amounts of infrastructure, both for the community benefit. And we understand that, and I think everybody understands that at the moment there are a lot of cost of living pressures on people, and being mindful of that. But at the end of the day, we need to provide a strong, financially stable council and local government to provide services for the exact people that are feeling those stresses. And I know on a personal level, and some of my other councillors, very much involved with charities and not-for-profits that are providing services in those areas. So we see it on a daily basis. And I'd hate to bring out I brought my first property at 80% thing that everybody does. But we live different lifestyles, and I quite often look around and go, this is a different lifestyle than what my parents lived.
Yeah.
And I remember my parents both working 2 jobs. And I thought, I had a great lifestyle as a kid. But I don't know too many people working 2 jobs today. So it is a tough gig. And I think council need to be mindful of the pressures on there. No council likes to put up rates purely for the sake of putting up rates. It's a necessity factor. And I think the City of Swan did a great job in recent years of keeping rate increases low. But we will be under pressure from the rising cost of just doing business. We're about to open, hopefully within the next 2 years, New Aquatic Centre in Allenbury, which comes with a significant cost. We're rebuilding one up the road here in Midland, which when it reopens will come with significant cost just to keep the doors open. Building new facilities constantly, new community centres, new sports ground and public open spaces are expensive. They all come with a cost. And very rarely there's a financial return on that. So they are lost leaders. Yeah. But you need to provide them for your community. And that's our role. That's our role in local government, to be able to provide those for our communities. And we're very restricted in where we get revenue from. Rates, unfortunately, is the basis of income, and grants and so on are fine to get, but they're a hard work, and we're very limited into alternative income sources. Fortunately, this development we see today is a classic example. Local government is one of the only entities that I know of that can buy land, sell it, and gain income in perpetuity forever for our ratepayers. So while mindful of the cost of living, we're all affected, and I think people forget that the councils are ratepayers too. We're not all blessed with a bucket load of coin, God forbid, and we come from all different walks of life, and everybody on council, their financial arrangements are different. And we know within our own cohort that we've got to butter up every day. We've got to pay the rates, and we've got to pay our bills, and we've got to pay our mortgage, and we've got to survive. So quite often you see that rhetoric that the council are heartless and so on. Well, no, we're 15 people in that room. We're under the same pressures as everybody else. So, but we have to see the bigger vision of saying, well, it is a requirement. We do increase our income this year. We do increase our revenue because we have to provide for the community that are looking for our help and leadership. So rates are always argumentative. Like you said, you and I hate paying them, but they come around, like they say, everything's a certainty, death and taxes.